Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, it's Cutler here, the Let's Talk the Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk the Cutler vlog, the Let's Talk the Cutler platform. It's another time for us to get together. It's Thursday. The week has, it's moving right along, and oh my, what a good week it is. And as you all know, I think I've shared with you all that I've been traveling, and so here I am on another location, and I'll tell you something about the location where I am in just a moment. But listen, if you're just passing by my channel for the first time, please know this. We hear enough bad news in the world every single day, and this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about checking in with ourselves so that we can challenge ourselves to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. Now, listen, that doesn't mean that today was a flop or a failure by any stretch of the imagination. It means that we're grabbing some nugget out of the day, even if it's this nugget that we're going to talk about for the next 1800 seconds, and we're going to let that nugget catapult us into a space that's called better. I told you that better is not necessarily a space that's 5 years down the road. It's not 10 years down the road, but better is the very next moment. Better happens, better is created as soon as you think of better, as soon as you realize that you want to do better, because you visualize and then you realize and then you actualize. So as soon as you can visualize better, you're already on your way. And so as many of you say, you always say, hey, let's get aboard, let's ride. That's because you all remember this book here, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration as we go along the highway of life. We're still doing that. And this evening, I want to talk about, from a very personal space, from an encounter that I had recently, I want to talk about how not to be a people pleaser. Now, that's completely different. That is the antithesis of helping people and being kind. But being a people pleaser is really out in left field somewhere. All right, so I want to talk about that. But before I talk about that, I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs for the evening. That's the Let's Talk the Color, very important people. And you all are. It just so happens I want to just shout out the top 3 people who jumped over into the chat. So while I'm doing this, do me a favor. Go ahead and do a thumbs up on this conversation, because it lets YouTube know that you like the conversation that guy over there is having. But it also encourages me. And if you haven't done so, make sure that you subscribe, click the notification bell, because it allows you to know whenever I've gone live and whenever I've uploaded new content. All right. So listen, let me shout out the LTTC VIPs. Annie Cutler says, get aboard and let's ride. That's right, because we are on our way to a space that's called better. And if anyone has pushed me to that space, you have. So, hey, let's ride. And then let's see who's coming in second place. Our good friend, Paula D, who says hello to everyone. By the way, Paula, please give a special shout out to Miss Evelyn for me, if you don't mind. Tell her that I said a special hello. All right, let's see who else comes in third place. It looks like our good friend and fellow LTTC VIP, MV. MV says, buckled in and ready. Hello, everyone. Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Absolutely. Hello to everyone. And let's see. And then I think I'm going to do a few shout outs. I'm going to do a few shout outs in just a moment. So I think many of you all know that, I don't know if many of you all know, of course, many of you all know that some time ago, my dad passed. And so on my father's side, this is ironic, on my father's side, my father passed, and both of his parents are no longer with us in the earthly realm. But on my mother's side, my mother's still very much alive, very much with us, and both of her parents are living. And so one of her parents is my grandfather, and today is his birthday. It is his 94th birthday. And so it looks like, and so you all will be able to figure out some of these family relationships and all that kind of stuff. So when you see that gives you kind of a hint as to what's going on there. All right. So a special shout out, a happy 94th birthday. All right. Let's see. Paula D says, my mom says hello. She's listening with me. Well, Miss Evelyn, thank you so much for listening. Believe it or not, I was talking about you just today. I was bragging. You all hang on. You all know this is just a sidebar conversation. I'll get to the chat in just a moment. But many of you remember when we did a special birthday celebration on this platform with birthday shout outs to Miss Evelyn, who is our 100-year-old Let's Talk to Cutler VIP, always a VIP. Well, may I tell you all this? Let me see. Let's see, is my bag within reach? I keep this with me. I know this is totally unscripted. This is totally unscripted. And I'm not going to, let's see. For the conversation that we had, Miss Evelyn sent this handwritten thank you card. I am going to keep this near and dear to my heart because I'm looking at this handwritten thank you card. It's addressed to me. I appreciate this so much. This will go in my treasures, Miss Evelyn. This will go in my treasures. I don't get thank you cards from 100-year-olds very often. And so that's going to go in my treasure. All right. So I want to talk about how to not be a people pleaser. Tell somebody, come on, let's talk to Cutler and let's find out how not to be a people pleaser. And I want to tell you all where this comes from. You all know I always have these encounters, and I want to share with you where it comes from. You all know I've been traveling lately, taking time to visit family and visit friends. And I've heard some people say to me, oh, I wish I were brave enough to do something like that. I never thought about it being brave enough to do this. I thought about just doing it. And I wanted to ask you all, do you have things that you would like to do, but you've never had the nerve or the wherewithal to do it? Would you say that you are in charge of your life? You know, many of us, we work hard and we've set our careers in place. We've helped raise families, and we've navigated marriages and raised children, all of those sorts of things. But with all of that, would you say that you are in charge of your life? Would you say that you live more for yourself or more for other people? I'm curious. You all can talk to me in the chat if you'd like. Do you live for yourself or do you live for others? Have you ever lost yourself in someone else? You know, you can do that. You can lose yourself in other people. You can get so busy. You can get so engaged in what they're doing, their visions, their goals, their objectives, their dreams, their hopes, their futures, all of that. You can get so caught up in that and them until you lose yourself. And guess what? You go back to find yourself and you don't find yourself because you've lost yourself in somebody else. Has that been you? So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage us all this evening. Learn how to make yourself happy. Learn how to make yourself happy. Why would I say that? Because far too often we make decisions that are really directed towards making other people happy. You all know I only have 1,800 seconds, but I want to drive this point home. We make decisions all the time that are geared towards making other people happy. Why would I say that? We wear certain clothes. We dress a certain way. We drive certain vehicles. We live in certain houses and certain homes and certain communities. We attend certain schools and churches and colleges and universities, all because of the appeal that it might have to other people. Yes, I know there are some times when we say, no, I'm doing it to make myself happy. And I think that's great. But how many people do you know who do all of those things? They dress a certain way, drive a certain thing, live in a certain thing, go to a certain place, all because of the appeal that it may have with someone else. How many of you know people pleasers? You all talk to me in the chat so that I know that my conversation is not in vain. How many of you know people pleasers, or how many of you yourself might have ever been a people pleaser? It's okay. Listen, what happens on this platform stays on this platform. But I have to confess, because if I'm talking from a place of transparency, let me just put up both hands. I've been a people pleaser before. So I'm clearly able to talk about this, and I'm not talking about this from the perspective of a clinician, but from my own life experiences. And I have to sit back and I had to ask myself, why do we become people pleasers? There's a reason why we do it. And again, just remember this, you all, there's nothing inherently. I just want to challenge us. I told you this channel is about inspiration and motivation and challenging us to show up better than we did today. Sometimes the challenge causes us to look at things that we've done and things that we are doing. There is nothing inherently wrong with being kind or being nice to someone else. In fact, I think it's a very valuable trait. But it can also be something that we do to avoid disappointing people or to avoid putting pressure on ourselves. Sometimes we do those things to avoid, because I'm doing it because I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want them mad at me. I don't want them disappointed with me. I don't want them upset with me. Have you all ever heard people say that? Not I'm doing it because I want to, or I'm doing it because I enjoy it, or I'm doing it because I love it. But sometimes people say, well, I'm just doing it so they won't be mad with me. I'm doing it because I don't want them upset with me. I'm trying to live up to this ideal image that they have of me. And a lot of people pleasers, they consciously act like this. Why? Because they are afraid. They are literally afraid of upsetting other people. And they want to avoid conflict. That's not a reason to do something just because you want to avoid conflict. Not when you're a grown man or grown woman. Be nice, yes, but don't do things just to learn the rationale and the motivation behind why you do what you do. Why would I say that? Because I've learned for myself that being a people pleaser will leave you feeling drained and unhappy. It will leave you feeling drained and unhappy. And you can never be you if you are constantly changing so that you can be what other people want. Let me say that again. You can never be you if you're constantly changing to be what other people want. We often toss around this word organic and authentic and unique and individual, but you can never be any of those things. You can never be organic or authentic or unique or individual when you are busy trying to become what everybody else wants you to become. You're not a chameleon. You're not a chameleon. So when you're trying to be a people pleaser, you will end up drained and unhappy. You end up focusing more of your energy on pleasing other people than providing for yourself. You end up quite often dealing with low self-esteem. Yep, Look at people who have low self-esteem. Look at people who deal with low self-esteem. And sometimes, again, I told you I'm not a clinician. I'm just sharing my own life experiences. Sometimes low self-esteem is connected, even if it's in an ancillary fashion, it is connected with being a people pleaser. Because you end up feeling like, oh, there are too many expectations on me. I don't know how to cope. I don't know how to handle this. And this is why I don't like for people to manipulate other people. They toss all of their stuff on you. They toss all of their stuff over on you when you already have enough to cope with, enough to deal with, and you're dealing with all of their issues and trying to carry yours. So you're focusing your energy on pleasing them and not providing for yourself. That's what happens when you're a people pleaser. All right. Listen, I want to pause for just a moment. So you all do me a favor. Help me out. I want to give us time to do a thumbs up on the conversation again. I want to remind people that if you want to know where my books are, they're over on Amazon.com. But I also want to pause for another special reason, because I just found out there is another birthday. So can you all take just a moment? You all see her here all the time. Our good friend Jet. Can you all take just a moment and wish Jet a happy birthday? She sends a shout out to everybody. And she says today is her birthday. She puts a cake up there with a candle. So let's just take a moment. You know, I love doing things like this. So if you can just put in the chat, the comments, happy birthday to Jet. I certainly wish you happiness, good health, prosperity, all of those things, my friend. I want you to know that I appreciate your presence on this platform. I appreciate all of your comments, all of your contributions to keeping the conversation and the chat flowing. I thank you for the encouragement. And you all know me well enough to know that I'm going to say this. So so it comes from my place of faith when I say this, and I pray that God will add years to your life and bless all that concerns you. All right. All right. Thank you all so much. So I see all the happy birthday wishes. Maybe it should be happy birthday to somebody every day we come to this platform, because when I tell you the kindness just popped out, and I saw some of y'all that I didn't even know were here in the chat, and y'all just started saying happy birthday. But I think that's kind. That's just what we do here. That's just what we do here. All right. But back to the topic of just making sure, how do I make myself happy? I make myself happy one way, by not becoming a people pleaser. So Cutler, do you have any tips for how to stop being a people pleaser? You all know I do. I didn't come on with this platform this evening without having some helpful hints and some tips about how to stop being a people pleaser. Because when you stop being a people pleaser, and again, maybe this is not for you, but put it in your arsenal, because maybe it's for somebody that you know. Maybe someone will have a conversation with you and says, listen, I find myself, I'm lost in other people. I don't know how to stop doing this. Or maybe you observe it in somebody and you say to them, from my perspective, it looks like you're just so wrapped up in becoming a people pleaser. So then, Cutler, do you have any tips for how to stop being a people pleaser? Of course I do. And again, not from a clinical perspective, but from my own life experience. Because when you stop becoming a people pleaser, you ultimately accept yourself and you become a much happier person. So the first thing that I would say to you is stop trying to fit in where you were created to stand out. So many times we are busy trying to fit in, but you're not always created to fit in. You're created to stand out. You're created to be true to yourself. You're created to stop doing something just because it'll make you look good in somebody else's eyes. Know what's right for you. And I get it. Sometimes we're put on the spot and we're asked to do things that we are not comfortable with. But stop trying to fit in. Learn how to stand your ground and make your own decisions. I hope I'm helping somebody. Why would I say that? Because I've learned that people will respect you for being true to yourself. They may be taken aback once or twice, but that's okay. They'll handle it, but they will respect you for being true to yourself. So stop trying to fit in when you were created to stand out. That's the first thing I offer us this evening. The next thing I offer us in terms of how to stop being a people pleaser is explore the power of no. And I know this is hard. I know it is difficult. I know it is challenging. I know it is a thorn in some of our proverbial flesh. I get that. But guess what? May I tell you this? No is a complete thought. And with your no, you do not always owe an explanation. No is not self-centered. No is not selfish. It's actually self-care and self-love. Why would I say that? I say that because if you use your energy and learn how to say no now when you mean it, you won't be drained and exhausted from saying yes then when you didn't mean it. Do I need to say that again? I sound like a Baptist preacher when I say stuff like that, don't I? Use your energy and say no when you mean it. That way you won't be drained and exhausted from saying yes when you didn't mean it. Explore the power of no. Learn how to say no. For many of us, we've said yes to so many things that we regretted. Yes to so many things that manifested other things in our lives that we didn't necessarily have to deal with because we said yes when we didn't mean it. Love yourself enough to say no. And don't feel as though you owe anybody an explanation. I can't think of who it is. I think maybe it was one of that whole housewife thing, but somebody said, I said what I said, and that's it. I have a coworker who will sometimes say, that's it and that's all. No, it's a little word, but it will make a big difference in your life. And you all know, so often I come here and I come with an offering, and sometimes my offering is developed and created out of the words that we share. And I think my offering for us this evening, what do I offer us? What do I offer us on this platform? I offer us the power to explore no, the power to say no, the power to stand in no, the power to mean no. I offer us that. In fact, Linda says, whenever someone asks me, can I do them a favor? I ask, what is the favor first? So I have the option. Linda, there you go. Let me just post that so that we can see it. Sometimes people say, can you do me a favor? And many times you've said yes before you know what the favor is. Linda, thank you so much. Those are words of wisdom that I want to share. Because how many of you, when people said, can you do me a favor? You've said yes and you don't even know what the favor is. Or they've said, can I borrow some money? And you said yes, you don't know how much. And then they ask you, can I borrow $500? And then you're stuck with a yes when you meant no, because if you had a thought that they meant 50, but they meant 500, but you said yes. Whenever someone asks me, can I do a favor? I ask, what is the favor first? So I have the option of saying yes or no. Stand in the power of your options. Yes or no. That or is a conjunction, and feel free to pivot on that conjunction as often as you need. Right? I hope this is helping all of us. It's this way you don't want to become a people pleaser. You don't want to lose yourself. Still be very human in your dealings with people, in your interactions with people, but learn how to love yourself. Learn how to treat yourself good first. Make yourself happy. Any other tips, Cutler, that you will offer us in terms of how not to be a people pleaser? You all know I got a few more. I got 1,800 seconds to be with you. So the next one that I would say is learn how to draw lines. Learn how to set boundaries. And what do I mean by that? You know some of the things that you've said to people that give you anxiety. Pay attention to what you're doing that makes you unhappy. What do people ask of you or expect you to do that you really don't enjoy doing? I've seen it. I've seen it in the workplace. I've seen it in social settings. I've seen it in family settings. I've seen it. Sometimes people say, well, listen, can you go get coffee? Go get coffee. Go get your own coffee. Oh, you're going to get lunch. Do you mind picking up lunch for me? Yes, I mind picking up lunch for you. Because I might go out the door and plan to get this. And when I go out there, I want to pivot on that or and say, you know what, I was going to go there, but now I'm going to go somewhere else. But now I've committed myself to getting lunch for you. People may ask you, well, can you help me plan my birthday party? And out of guilt, you say, yes, I will, knowing good and well. You know, in the country, we say good doggone well or full and well. Well, some people will say other things, but you know, good and well that you don't want to help them plan their birthday party, but you said yes. Out of guilt, out of obligation, out of commitment. People will ask you things like, can you support my fundraiser? You end up buying stuff that you really don't want. Give a donation. Stop buying all that stuff. I'm telling you, I had to clean out one in the country. We call these things deep freezers. I suppose you all call them deep freezers too. But I had a deep freezer full of stuff that I bought from people just to support fundraisers. Pepperoni logs and cookie dough and pizza dough and God knows what else. Until I had to do a mass cleaning and throw that stuff away. I should have just given money to help them. Look at the things that you're doing that don't make you happy. Some of those were light examples, but I know they're heavier examples. Sometimes people will routinely ask you to do stuff that you don't enjoy. Learn how to set boundaries and be very resolute about not crossing those lines. Why would I say that? Because boundaries help you to say no. That's not a line I want to cross. That's not a boundary I want to I want to bust through. I don't want to trespass against that boundary. Set boundaries. People ask you, for example, go back to the one, can you help me with my birthday party? No, you know what? I'd love to come to your birthday party, but no, I don't want to help plan it. Now, they may not invite you to the birthday party, but guess what? That's okay. So learn how to set boundaries. They help you to say no. Learn how to draw lines where you are not going to cross. Set up boundaries. I hope I'm helping somebody. And then can I say this to us in love, of course. And if you offer this to someone, do it in love as well. Stop making excuses. Learn to just stop making excuses, because the moment you stop making excuses, you have more time and energy to do what you really want to do. You'll feel more in control of your life, and you won't feel like a victim of somebody else's demands. So don't feel the need to make an excuse. Don't feel the need to say, I'm sorry, I'm afraid, I can't do it. It's just no. You don't have to make excuses. The next time, thank you, Linda, in terms of people asking you to do favors, the next time someone asks for a favor or asks you to do something that takes up your time and your energy, just reject their request. No excuse. Can you do this? No, sure can't. And you may leave them with their mouths hanging wide open. And what I'm not saying, you all, please don't hear me in terms of saying being rude to people. No, I'm not encouraging us to be rude to people. I'm encouraging us to love ourselves. I'm encouraging us to catapult ourselves into a place of happiness, a place of wholesomeness, a place of me-ness, if I may make up that word. I don't want us to get lost in other people. I think I may pick up with this conversation, but another very good friend of mine has often said to me, you know, one of the things that I do, and so I'm getting this from him. My good friend Auntie, it's always good to see you. Love you too. I get this last point from a good friend of mine who reminds me, learn how to check in with yourself. We're talking about how to not be a people pleaser. Learn how to check in with yourself. And you all know I got to go, but I want to offer this to you. What does that mean, Cutler? Learn how to check in with yourself. It means that you have an inner voice. Learn how to listen to it. Learn how to silence the noise of other people so that you can hear your own inner voice. Why would I say that? Because your voice will help you to avoid becoming a doormat that everybody else will step on, leave you muddy, and keep right on going. Your voice will help you avoid toxic people who will come in and poison your life and then run out and try to sanitize their own. You have an inner voice. Learn how to listen to it. Check in with yourself. Learn how to spend time alone. That's important. Some of us are intimidated by aloneness. I didn't say loneliness. Sometimes we are intimidated by aloneness, but this is important for your mental and your physical health. You've got to learn how to spend time alone. Sometimes people are afraid of that because they worry that they're going to become lonely and they're going to become bored and they're going to become anxious. And you know why? You know why we think like that, you all? And yes, I know I got to get out of here, but you know why we sometimes think like this? Because now we are thrust. I was talking to one of my cousins today. We are thrust in this society where we are so hyper connected. My cousin and I were walking out the door, and I said, hold on just a moment. Do you know what I went back inside to get? My phone. And it caused him to think of the same thing. He said, oh, well, where's mine? But we had just had a conversation about being so hyper connected. Sometimes you've just got to disconnect, unplug, and spend time alone. It's good for your mental health. Learn how to check in with yourself. And when you check in with yourself, you'll listen to your inner voice, and you'll realize that the voice that you have speaks to you and guides you and helps you not to become the doormat that other people will step on. Because other people will step on it, leave the mud, keep on going, and then try to sanitize their own place. I hope this was a helpful conversation. But again, this conversation came from the mere fact that I had people who said, I wish I were brave enough to do this. I wish I were brave enough to live in my own skin. I wish I were brave enough to see my wishes come true and my hopes and dreams come into fruition. You can do that. One of the ways you can do it is just stop being a people pleaser. You might have to come back and take a look at this, and y'all, and encourage people to come back and catch the replay of this conversation, because this is not an easy lesson. This is not an easy thing. But guess what? I'm a witness that it's doable. You got to do the work. You got to make the effort. You have to find the wherewithal. You have to persevere. You have to find the tenacity. You have to do all of that. And I have no doubt that you all can. You all do me a favor. Let's keep building community. Let's maintain connectivity. You all stay safe, stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up. And know this, from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. But I forgot to tell y'all something. Don't go, hang on, because I told you all this. I told y'all that I'm traveling. I wish I could share these with you all. I went to this cookie place. Some of you all have heard of Insomnia. And I was forced to buy these cookies. Don't they look amazing? 4 of them. I'll probably eat 1.5. I'm going to eat 2. All right. Listen, you all, I will see you here on this platform next week. Make sure until then, know that I love you all, and tell other people, come on, let's talk the color. Don't forget to do a thumbs up on the conversation if you haven't. Good night.